Welcome back to the for Brussels. Today I'm here with MEP Ana Miranda Paz. Anna, thank you for being here today. Let's start with the changing political landscape in Europe. Especially across Europe, we're starting to see a rise of far-right parties. I want to get a bit of your point of view, given your very colorful background, as we were discussing before we started.
Yes, now in the European Parliament and in general in Europe, we have a difficult situation concerning the rise of the extreme right and also the coexistence of the extreme right with the right in the European Parliament. So the progressive majorities that we had in the past, we don't have now because this wideness of the extreme right by the Popular Party seems very difficult to have decisions to advance in the progressive legislation and also to come back to and to cancel some legislation that was approved with a lot of social changes, protection of environment, protection of peoples. And now with this alliance, we are in a difficult situation because they are questioning the democracy in Europe.
Indeed, that's happening at the European level. What do you think is happening at the member state level of why people are so drawn to far-right parties?
I think there is a problem also of the fake news, of the content of the information, but also some situation with the traditional parties. But in general, also by the corruption. There are a lot of corruption in Europe. And I think the extreme right parties, they profit these difficult times in the international politics with the Trumpism, the influence of the social networks concerning the politics. We have seen just now in Colombia. We have seen also in other European countries. And also the question of the immigration, because the extreme right parties, they are using the migration against the peoples, against the working class. One month ago in the European Parliament, in the deportation regulation, where we have seen the shameful behavior of the extreme right parties. They are using these attacks to construct a political
Narrative, yeah.
yes, narrative that is against the human rights.
How would you speak to your voters at the moment? What are main things that pro-democratic, pro-European parties are saying to their voters?
I think we need to defend the things that are really important for people: housing, work, the way of life to come pay bills, because uh, some young people, they cannot have an independent life now. Also, we need to defend the public services that are under question with the omnibus legislation proposed by the European Union, and we are working on these questions. Also, the defense of the nature and the defense of the productive sector and industrial sectors in Europe, because we are losing our capacity in Europe in general. And also we need to defend the human rights every time, every time. As you see, the letter of Mr. Rajoy, no, Mr. Rajoy is questioning the French election and who is French and who is not French. We need to defend the democracy every moment.
In light of you mentioning your letter, could you speak a bit more that that's something you wanted to discuss today?
Yes.
And what that means with the current state of Europe and voices that need to be brought out?
We need to have voices to speak out loud and to speak with the truth also, because when we see a former prime minister as the Spanish former president Rajoy, we see a high representative questioning the French nationality, the French citizenship of some black or other origins in the French selection. That is a racist comment. Racism reflects the xenophobic or narrative from some political parties. We have seen in every plenary, in every debate, in every committee in the European Parliament, where we see how they manage the right and especially the extreme right political parties, the attacks against the others. No? I think we need to combat this these examples. For example, in this document is the rise of neo-fascism violence in Europe. I was one of the reporters of the European Parliament in 2018, and in 2018, the European Parliament approves this resolution concerning these topics. A political, as the former Prime Minister of Spain, should give an example. And today we promote this other letter of solidarity with the French citizens, with the President of the Republic, with the Football Federation of the French Football Federation, against concerning the racism statements by former Prime Minister Rajoy.
So there'll be signatures, and you're publishing the letter imminently.
But you have the exclusive.
We have
You have the exclusive. You are, yes, it's breaking news.
So you are promoting your letter of solidarity with the French Republic with regards to the comments made against the French national football team. In Spain, we've also seen recent comments by opposition leader Alberto Núñez about sick leave, which have sparked wider debate over the balance between economic competitiveness and workers' rights. Do you worry that social rights are increasingly being framed as obstacles?
Alberto Núñez was the president of Galicia for 12 years. Can you imagine? So we, in my party, in the VNG, we know Alberto Núñez very well. And he was against the social right. Now he is close to the extreme right. Concerning the sick leave, this is a scandal. This is a scandal that is really a very important question in Spain, because was accepted, was a right of workers, battling for years. It's a right that concerns the worker, and he is questioned that. It's a scandal, and it's a comeback on the social work, on the social rights, on the social scope that is also protected by the ILO. And we are denouncing in the progressive force all this step back, because it's not the Francoism more. It's not the Francoism, it's a democracy. And we need to protect the principles of the democracy that are also the protection of the workers.
We have also seen a lot of criticism around mainstream parties beginning to adopt positions that were once associated with the far right, particularly on migration, labor markets, and social policy. And it's in an effort to win back their voters. So, do you see the center of political policymaking within Europe starting to shift?
I don't think so in the current moment, because we have seen that the parties that, as the Popular Party, that were most in the past linked to the balance and not attack the migration, now they are attacking the migration because they are buying the narrative speech of the extreme right, because they need the extreme right to combat the progressive forces. For example, in Spain, we have the Socialist Party, the Labour Party of Mr. Sanchez, that is in government, but with the support of 8 political parties for different nations and different arenas. In these parties, as my party, we have a clear red line, that is no agreements with the extreme right, as we have also in the European Parliament, in the group of Greens European Free Alliance, that we don't have any negotiation, any amendment, any resolution with the extreme right. The parties, as the Popular Party, they should push to have limits and to finish this alliance with the extreme right, because this alliance is weakness. Europe is weakness, the social right is weakness, the protection of the nature is weakness, the protection of workers, and also the human rights for women, for diversity groups in general. And we are very, very worried. It's the time that I see Europe more lost. They have some responsible. Von der Leyen is from the Popular Party. Madame Metzola is from the Popular Party. but also the leader of the main important countries in the European Union. They belong also to the conservative. They should decide, go with the democracy or go with the anti-democratic forces as the extreme right.
What would you say are some of your biggest fears right now about Europe achieving its goals with regards to having a just transition?
For just transition, we have in the past all the agreement in the Green New Deal, but now it's destroying with the politics of simplification and reduction of omnibus legislation of von der Leyen. Von der Leyen, she prefers to have a defense and security and militarism project, and not really a project that respects the human rights and respects the needs of the European population. And she has no any word about the genocide in Gaza. That is terrible. She has double standards with Ukraine by one hand and by Palestine in other hand, and they are not in the same level. The double standards and the sanctions, there are no sanctions against Israel that should be after a genocide. And also, we are very worried about the industrial policy, because this the double standard of the dual use of civil and military. All is conditioning now in the MFF. All is really close to the investments in arms, in militarism in Europe. We are peaceful forces defending other Europe, different, and defending the cohesion. And the cohesion is territorial, social, and environmental too. And we see that one of the most important instruments for the European Union, that is the cohesion policy, can be destroyed because this nationalization of funds. I'm the shadow of our group in the regional committee concerning the performance regulation, that is the control of funds. We are now, yes, in a negotiation with other committees, in the parliament, and we see there is a big danger to lose the cohesion, the cohesion in Europe. And the cohesion was very important for citizens and for peoples, and to combat also the discrimination, for example, in the borders of one region to another. I feel that the youngest people, the poorest people, the progressive people in Europe, they don't want an Europe of war. They want an Europe of peace and cohesion.
So your fear would boil down to perhaps losing the mission of the European Union about what it was meant to be.
Yes, but I think it's loose from years. Yeah,
It's
yes,
been
now
lost.
it's loose from years, because it's not as the initial project, and the neoliberal policies, they were increasing every time more and more in all of our legislation. And I can't compare with other mandates, and now it's a difficult times, but we are battling.
What are you looking forward to these upcoming midterms? What do you think is going to be happening and shifting within the European Parliament? Or what are you afraid of likewise?
Now we have an opportunity to change things, but it depends of the Popular Party too. If they want to have an agreement with the extreme right, or with the progressive forces. They should decide, because the majority between the Greens for the left, the Renew, and the Social Democrats is not enough. It's not enough at the moment. But we have this change of mandate in the middle term. We need to see the possibilities that we have to change things also in the European Parliament, that we have seen some days ago in the chat control also. They profit the time that they are no deputies to have a vote, to push for a vote without deputies that needs a qualified majority, and we lose because they are not enough deputies. And the parliament profits the situation, and also the Popular Party. They are using like a back stage. No?
Couple more questions real quick, specifically talking about your work because you're currently working on the new regulation on European fisheries and aquaculture statistics. So although this is a bit technical, I do want to touch a bit on some important piece of legislation. Why do better data matter for supporting coastal communities and ensuring sustainable future for Europe's fisheries?
I belong to a fisheries nation, and this is very close to us because we have a lot of kilometers of coast, and also we are living of that. But also in Ireland, in Portugal, in France, in Croatia, in Italy, in Greece, in Netherlands, in Belgium too. There are a lot of coastal communities in Europe, and we need to defend them. But we need to have the strong data, the strong statistics, because at the moment we have statistics that are not renewal, that are not new, that are not updated, and also that include the social issues. And the data are not disagreed by gender or by a profession with contact or with other type of contact. So we need to have statistics for all Europe. I work in fisheries, I work also in petitions committee, I work also in the regional committee that are now with the reform of the financial framework. It's
Well,
a big work.
it's a big work. Well, we've touched on a lot of different topics, but I think the red thread of this interview was your advocacy for social protections within the EU. So thank you so much for sharing all of your insights on that. And
Thank you.
I'd say lastly, I just want to talk about what's one thing that Europe must deliver before the next European elections. So not the midterms, but the next cycle of the EU.
Yes, for the next cycle of the European elections, we need to give a strong message combating the rise of neo-fascism in Europe. We need to combat that. We need to protect the citizens for housing, because housing was a new competence for the European Commission, but it's the main worries in some member states. We need to defend the social justice and equality, because it's under danger also with the extreme right narratives. And for us also, in general, we need to give a hope to citizens, a hope, because some citizens are very disappointed with politics, with the advance of these extreme right forces, and they are not implicate. We see a genocide. We see the loss of rights in some parts of Europe. I think we need to come back to the defense of human rights as a principle for the Europe, for the European Union. The human rights, I said in the past campaign, the defense of the fair causes of the humanity, defend the humanity, because it's a question also that we lose a lot of values in Europe in these years because of these groups. We need to come back to the really defense of human rights and cohesion policy too.
Thank you so much, Anna, for sharing your insights today. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Me too.
And thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in.